As daily COVID cases in the US reach an all-time high, student morale has hit rock bottom. We'll show you how students are reacting to COVID fatigue.
Heading home for the holidays? We have tips for students who are planning to travel.
A student-made website helps create connections as people look for a new buddy during COVID. Daily COVID cases reach an all-time high, with the number topping 150,000 nationwide. I'm Leanna Falk, reporting from Los Angeles.
This spike comes as people feel exhausted from social isolation. I'm Brett Chody, reporting from LA.
And I'm Kimberly Guest, also reporting from Los Angeles. USC students are suffering from COVID fatigue as pandemic numbers reach new highs. COVID-19 has now taken the lives of nearly 250,000 people in the US. That's the most of any country in the world. Today, California became the second state to reach 1 million COVID cases. Over the past 2 weeks, California saw a 31.6% increase in hospitalizations because of COVID. The number of patients in the intensive care unit also increased by 30%. Today, Los Angeles County reported 2,533 new cases of coronavirus and 7 new deaths related to the virus.
Many people are now experiencing COVID fatigue. They're eager to get back to a normal life and are becoming less interested in social distancing and staying home. USC's Dr. Sarah Van Orman says the fight against COVID is far from over.
I think it is fatigue. I think people want to come to normalcy. They want to get together with people. They want to have, family gatherings. They want to have weddings. They want to have holiday celebrations. It is just fatigue. And this sense that things were getting better, that we could maybe do a bit more. We could liberalize a bit more. And unfortunately, we aren't at a point in the pandemic where we can do that.
During the week of November 1st to November 7th, 50 USC students and 2 employees tested positive for COVID-19. 81 students are currently in isolation, while 68 students are in quarantine. Those who have been exposed to someone with COVID-19 are placed in quarantine. Those in isolation have tested positive for the virus themselves. Students say they are struggling with staying at home and COVID fatigue is getting to them.
A lot of the people I know, and I definitely feel this as well, are getting restless and just getting tired. Like, I think, obviously USC, I've met some of those ambitious, brightest, most driven kids I've ever met in my life, but Zoom and coronavirus are going to affect everyone.
Wish I was moving around. It's so draining, literally just sitting in front of a computer. It's days where I'm not working. It's just I don't get to interact with people that much because I'm in an office. I'm don't know people that well. And days where I would be interacting with classmates and stuff, I'm just sitting down in front of a screen and I just literally can't focus at all.
With classes ending and Thanksgiving coming up, Dr. Van Orman is urging students to get COVID tested and quarantine themselves for 2 weeks before traveling home to their families. She also advises quarantining after arriving home.
Some students are maintaining their relationships with friends and significant others by using FaceTime and Zoom to stay connected.
And Zoom has been, our date night thing. So we'll watch a show or a movie sharing the screen on Zoom, or we'll, do a virtual escape room. When I'm so tired or when I am fatigued, talking to her does pick my spirits up sometimes. And I do feel better afterwards. So far, we're good and we're just trying to make it work.
I wish I could be studying with my friends. It's really sad that I don't get to see them. We've been FaceTiming, I think 3 times a month. And we text almost, I want to say every other day. The friendships that were meant to be have lasted through this time. Those are the friends that have made an effort to continue to communicate.
The pandemic was a hard moment for us because he lives at home still with his family. And so that put a strain on our relationship, or at least at the beginning, it was new territory for us. I think that we had a healthy relationship, but that takes a toll on any relationship, just having to keep saying no to someone. I can't see you.
Socially distanced date nights and virtual Zoom parties have become the new norm for many who want to keep up with friends and family. But a communication expert says while online is a good way to stay in touch, it has its limitations.
It's crazy the kind of technology that have been developed to try to facilitate long distance relating. But I'm also noticing this hyper vigilance for oneself. So before you hit record, I'm like, oh, is my hair okay? And you're like, well, I'm dressed down too. Well, when we normally talk, we don't normally look at ourselves while we're talking. There's something about the magic year that a family can do anything for a year, right? But when it becomes longer than a year, or when the ability to reunite at some point in time becomes cloudy or uncertain, stress and coping become much more difficult.
In the era of virtual dates and pandemic friendships, Dr. McGuire recommends that we return to the good old-fashioned way of communicating, writing letters. It's an intimate and meaningful gesture that won't break your bank during the holidays.
As COVID cases continue to peak across the country, both students and parents are looking at upcoming travel and holiday gatherings with a bit of uncertainty.
My parents are very worried about traveling across the country, and my sister and I really want to go, and we really want to see our family, but we know that there are some difficulties and challenges that have been posted due to COVID-19. So curious to see how we'll go about that and if we'll be able to spend the holidays with our family or not.
We're definitely going to have some ground rules when they're home. We're the house that everybody comes to. And even though I know my children have had it, I don't know that all their friends have had it. And I don't still know what that protects us from. Actually, today I found out that my son that lives here has a roommate who tested positive today. And I said to my son, you have a choice to make because you have Thanksgiving coming up with your grandparents. So your choice is you have to either start quarantining immediately and hope that you don't have it, or at least you're done with it by the time Thanksgiving arrives, or you're going to possibly miss Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving week is typically the busiest travel time of the year. Amid the pandemic, 56% of Americans still plan to travel for Thanksgiving. Airlines expect the highest number of flights since March. Staying home is encouraged, but if you plan on traveling, an expert has some tips on how to stay safe.
You need to think about where you're how you're going to be traveling. Is it going to be by car, by train, by plane, and whenever possible, maintaining that social distance within that vehicle. So if you're on a plane, preferably using an airline that keeps the middle seat empty. If you're in a car, keeping the windows rolled down to help increase circulation.
Here are some additional tips on how to stay safe. Get COVID tested before and after traveling. If possible, try to take a direct flight. And limit eating and drinking in airports and delay travel if you've been exposed or feel sick.
I'm Genevieve Glass reporting from Los Angeles. University life is already stressful and isolating. A survey of 50,000 college students taken before the pandemic confirmed just that. Up to 2/3 of the participants reported feeling extremely lonely during their time at school. 3 Cornell students noticed the trend on their New York campus and were determined to make a difference.
The problem of loneliness and isolation definitely was not created by COVID in terms of the way we were tackling it. So Jordan and I worked on a startup before Quarantine Buddy, which was focused on connecting students together who were feeling lonely and isolated on the Cornell University campus and on college campuses throughout the country.
The nature of Cornell's campus in general, we're in upstate New York, there's not much around, it's really cold in the winter, so you can't really leave your apartment, dorm, whatever it is. And I think the one thing that everyone really looks forward to, especially here, is the socializing aspect of going out, meeting people, even just seeing people at the libraries and stuff, just talking to people. So I think when we all got sent home, it definitely did make it worse in a sense.
So the student startup expanded its outreach and created Quarantine Buddy, a free online service to connect people of all ages and from all walks of life.
Within 2 days of having the idea, we just launched it out there and instantly had this traction with hundreds of people coming the first couple of days. And then Governor Cuomo mentioned it, and then more and more thousands of people started to come.
Like a matchmaker, but for friendship, the website asks what your interests are and what you're looking for in a buddy. Then an algorithm pairs 2 people together.
I know. I'll let you share my goals, Sheldon. I hardly know you, and I'm giving you my goals, right?
Sheldon Brown, a 21-year-old college student, and Pam Silverstein, a 77-year-old widow, are from opposite sides of New York. But despite their location and their age difference, they have much in common and became fast friends.
Number one request when you're filling out the matching form on Quarantine Buddy is just somebody to talk to. It's not anything specific, any particular type of interest or hobby. It's just people who want to come on and get to know somebody.
Quarantine Buddy already extends into 40 countries and has matched almost 250,000 people. And while cities like Los Angeles face looming lockdowns, knowing a new friend is just a click away could be the comfort we need. For Annenberg Media, I'm Genevieve Glass.
2020 was a year that we will always remember. From COVID-19 to the presidential election to the adjustment to online school, 3 USC students share how the events of this year affected them.
I mean, I've had a different experience to most students because I took this semester off. So I've literally been doing nothing since quarantine. I haven't been with friends. I've only been with my parents. So it's been really weird to not have things to do constantly, because I feel like we've been living in a world where you always feel like you constantly need to be doing something. It's been really interesting to see how busy society makes you feel like you need to be, and how hard it actually is to just be alone.
I think the polarizing political climate is definitely the greatest factor that led to some extra stress in 2020 that I haven't faced in previous years. Donald Trump was looking to take away a lot of the rights that me and my friends have, a lot of basic human rights, which a lot of presidents haven't really obviously done in the past. And other years, if the party I had voted for had lost, it would be fine. But it didn't feel like it would be fine this time around. So I think that led to a lot of anxieties.
Online school has been tough. I, like so many students, are trying to find, balance in this chaos that's going on. One of the best parts about being at USC is the on-campus experience itself, and being able to meet so many different people from so many different places, and being online sort of takes that away. Online school may be a temporary fix, but by no means is it sustainable or conducive to that amazing Trojan experience we all want.
I am so upset that this has to be our last show. This has been a great semester. I've really loved working with the entire team, especially Brett and Cambry every Thursday. This has truly been an honor working with ATBN the last semester.
I know, I agree. I'm so sad it's our last episode, but the same goes for me. I had a blast working with you both. You're both so talented and I learned so much from you. And it's so fun having 3 powerful women be the hosts of this show. I love it. And, I'm bummed we didn't get to be in the studio, but we don't know where journalism's heading after COVID. This could be the new norm. So I'm really happy we all got this experience.
Exactly. I completely agree. I've loved being part of such a strong female team, but also just to everyone that's been working behind the scenes, whether it's faculty or our producers and all of our MJs that help make this show possible. We love you guys so much, and thank you so much to everyone that has been tuning in and following along with us this semester every Thursday. It's truly been a joy to get to stream live from my room or virtually from wherever we all are. So from all of us here, thank you so much.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that wraps it up for this last See It Live of 2020.
Thank you guys for tuning in tonight and throughout the semester.
And from all of us here at Annenberg TV News, have a good night.